Girardi Prime was a beautiful world, covered with glowing forests, tall crystal towers, and skies that shimmered with twin suns. At the heart of this world stood the royal palace, a shining pyramid of blue stone and silver metal. Here lived Princess Virel, daughter of the emperor, and heir to the Girardi Empire. Virel was not like other royals. She was calm, smart, and cold when needed. Her people respected her, and her enemies feared her. But very few knew that deep inside. Virel held a memory, a secret from her past that she had never told anyone. That memory would return today. The arrival it began with a message from the outer fringes. A human ship had been captured during a border fight. The Empire's soldiers had taken one prisoner alive, a male, found with strange technology and data chips. He was now being brought to the palace. "He is dangerous," said General Xyrax, her father's most trusted military leader. "We should question him, then remove him before others ask questions." Virel looked at the report. "Bring him here. I will see him myself." General Xyrax raised one silver eyebrow. "You, princess." "I want to understand the enemy," she said simply. "We are not just warriors. We are rulers. We must know who we fight," he bowed, though she could feel his disapproval. "The prisoner, too." Hours later, Virel stood in the main chamber, high above the crystal city. Blue fire flickered in the glass lamps around her. Imperial guards stood beside the doors in full armor. The room was quiet, too quiet as the prisoner was brought in. He was tall for a human. With a rough beard and short brown hair, his hands were bound in glowing cuffs. His clothes were torn, but he stood straight. His eyes sharp and calm looked around the chamber before settling on her. Virel felt something strange. Then he spoke. "So, this is what you've become." His voice, the shape of his face. The eyes, it hit her like a blast from a plasma cannon. "Eli," she whispered, before she could stop herself. The guards looked at her in surprise. General Xyrax narrowed his eyes. The human smiled a little, but there was sadness in it. "Didn't think you'd remember me. A lost friendship 15 years ago, when Virel was just a young girl. She had been allowed to visit a science outpost. Far from the core worlds, the outpost was small, hidden, and under the control of both Girardi and human scientists, a joint research base. It was there that she met a human, boy Eli Mercer. He was the son of a Terran researcher. He had made her laugh. They had explored the woods together. He had taught her a human song. She had given him a small, glowing stone from her planet, a token of friendship. They had promised to meet again, but before that could happen, her guards had found out. She was pulled away from the outpost and never allowed back. She never saw him again until now. Questions and silence, the room was frozen. The guards didn't know what to do. General Xyrax stepped forward. "Princess, you know this creature?" Virel turned to him slowly. "Years ago." Briefly. Eli's smile faded. "So that's all I am now?" Silence. "Human," the guard shouted, striking him across the face with a metal rod. "Stop," Virel said. Her voice was soft, but it cut like ice. The guard stepped back. Virel looked at Eli. "Why were you on the edge of the Empire?" Eli licked his lip where it bled. "Because someone wants this war to keep going. Explain. It's part of a peace team. We were sent to talk to the Shari Council near the neutral zone, but our ship was hit before we arrived. Someone didn't want peace." Xyrax laughed. "How convenient." "I know what it looks like," Eli said. "But we had proof. Plans. To start talks, hidden messages. All of it is gone now." Virel stared at him. She could tell he was not lying. She remembered that look, the way he always spoke the truth, even when it hurt. But what if he was wrong? What if he was being used? She needed time. "Take him to the holding cells," she said. "Do not harm him. I will question him again." Private. Thoughts later that night, Virel sat in her private chambers. The sky outside was full of moving lights, ships, signals, warnings of war. She turned over a small object in her hand. It was a round crystal, worn smooth. The same one she had given to Eli all those years ago. She had thought it lost, but it had been found in his pocket when he was captured. He had kept it all this time. Why now? She whispered to herself. There was something deeper happening. Here, the Empire had grown too proud, too powerful. If someone inside was trying to stop peace, that could destroy everything, her people, her throne, and her future. And somehow, Eli was in the center of it. The beginning of a storm down in the cell, Eli sat alone. He could still feel the echo of the slap, but his mind was sharper than ever. Virel was here alive, powerful, and maybe still the girl he had once known. Hope you haven't forgotten everything, he whispered to the walls. Because you're going to need me, the guards outside muttered. They didn't understand. They thought he was just another prisoner. But the truth was already moving. And nothing in the Empire would stay the same. Not now. The walls of the palace prison were made of cold silver and glowing stone. The halls were quiet and no sound came from the thick doors. It was not just a prison, it was a place of silence, built to break the minds of even the strongest warriors. Eli. Mercer sat in the center of his cell. He was no longer in chains, but the energy cuffs still glowed around his wrists. A faint humming sound came from the walls, always reminding him he was being watched. But Eli was not afraid. He had been in worse places. He had fought in space, on broken moons, inside ships full of fire. This was just another mission. What he didn't expect was the return of a friend he thought he had lost forever. A quiet visitor that night. Long after most of the guards had gone quiet, the door to his cell slid open with a soft hiss. Eli looked up. Princess Virel stepped inside, dressed in a plain dark robe instead of her royal armor. Her long silver hair was tied back. Her glowing crown was gone. In this light, she looked less like a ruler and more like the girl he had once known. You came alone? Eli asked, raising an eyebrow. I wanted answers, she said calmly. Ones you won't give in front of others. He smiled slightly. You still ask questions the same way. Virel didn't smile back. She stepped closer, watching him. You're not just a soldier, she said. I checked your name in the Empire's databanks. You're a field commander. One of the youngest in the Terran Defense Accord. Guilty, Eli said, though now I'm a prisoner. Funny how fast things change. You said you came for peace. Why would a commander be part of a peace mission? It's because someone trusted me. Someone thought I could help make peace real. But someone else didn't like that idea. Hidden planning Eli leaned forward. His voice dropped. I'll tell you the truth, Virel. But only if you promise to listen, not as a princess. Not as a ruler. As my friend Virel's eyes narrowed.
Right.
But after a moment, she nodded. I'm listening. Eli looked around the cell. We were on our way to a secret meeting. Your empire. Our leaders. A few neutral planets. It was quiet, no media, no announcements. Just people talking about peace. But someone leaked our path. Our ship was attacked before we arrived. My team died. I survived. I think someone inside your own empire wanted us to die. Virel felt her stomach turn. Do you have proof? I did, Eli said. But they took my gear. If your people haven't destroyed it yet, you might still find something. Look in the memory chips. Virel had already read the reports. The chips were damaged. One was locked behind an old Terran code. No one had cracked it yet. Eli saw her. Hesitation. You haven't opened them, have you? Not yet. Then you still have time. If you trust me. She didn't answer right away. Old wounds? Why did you keep it? She asked suddenly. Eli blinked. Keep what? The crystal. The one I gave you. Eli looked down at the glowing cuffs, then back at her. Because it reminded me of something. Real. Something good. A time before war. Before titles. When you were just Virel and I was just Eli? She turned away, looking at the wall. I never forgot, he said softly. Even when the war started. I always thought we'd meet again. Someday, Virel closed her eyes. I wasn't allowed to speak of it. My father said I had shamed the royal name. He forbade me from returning to that outpost. Because of me, No, she said, because I cared. That made me dangerous to them. Eli stood slowly. The cuffs glowed brighter, but didn't. Stop him. You're not a child anymore, he said. Neither am I. Maybe now we can change things. Out. In the Empire later that night, Virel sat in her personal study. The lights were low. A storm rolled across the skies outside, casting shadows on the walls. She placed the damaged memory chip on the scanner. It blinked. Locked. She typed the code she remembered from years ago, a silly number Eli once used for everything. O for 2 OMs. Screen blinked. Green files opened. Inside were audio logs, images, secret meeting records. One video showed a Girardi warship firing on a Terran vessel. Unmarked, no flags. Another showed intercepted messages. The sender was unknown, but the style matched Girardi command structure. One line stood out. Ensure the meeting fails. The Terran commander must not return. She felt her breath catch. Someone in the Empire had betrayed peace. Lie had told the truth, and someone powerful wanted to keep that secret buried. The mask behind the throne vial went to the Central Archives early the next morning. Only high officers were allowed inside. She showed her seal and entered alone. She searched the communications logs. The same style of message was found in recent war commands. But the encryption, it matched a specific device, one used only by General Zyrax. Her blood went cold. General Zyrax had been her father's advisor for decades. He had led battles, trained soldiers, and shaped war policies. But now, it seemed he was also shaping lies. He had framed the Terrans. He had tried to kill Eli, and he was the one pushing for Eli's execution, a dangerous decision that night. Virel stood once more outside Eli's cell. He looked up as the door opened. She entered quickly and closed it behind her. Tell me something, she asked. Why do they fear humans so much? Eli looked confused. Who? The ones starting this war, as the ones hiding in shadows. He thought for a moment. Because we change things. We move fast. We break patterns. Maybe we're not as smart or as powerful as your people, but we don't stop trying. Virel nodded slowly. I believe you. She stepped closer and held out a small device, your data chip. I saw what's on it. Eli's eyes widened. You broke the code? She smiled slightly. I remembered your old password. For the first time, Eli laughed. It was a quiet laugh, but real. You've grown, he said. So have you. The mission begins. Virel lowered her voice. Listen to me. You're not safe here. General Zyrax is the one who planned your ship's destruction. He wants you dead. I think he wants war to go on forever. I don't know yet. But I'm going to find out. I need time. Eli nodded. Then I'll give it to you. She turned to leave. Virel, she looked back. Thank you, he said. For a moment, the air between them felt like it did long ago, when they were just a boy and a girl on a quiet alien moon. Then the door closed behind her. The next morning, Princess Virel stood on a high balcony of the palace. Below her, the capital city of Girate Prime buzzed with light and sound. Ships moved like silver birds through the air. But inside her mind, a storm was growing. She now knew the truth. General Zyrax, her father's most trusted commander, was not a protector of peace. He was a traitor to the throne and a hidden enemy of hope. He had ordered the attack on the Terran peace team. He had lied to the Emperor. He had almost killed Eli Mercer, her childhood friend, and now was the only one who knew the whole truth. But knowing the truth was not enough. She had to act carefully. One wrong step, both she and Eli would be executed for treason. The silent search for Rel returned to the royal archives. She wore a dark cloak and told no one. The halls were quiet, and the soft hum of machines and the glowing light of crystal panels filled the room. She searched for hours, digging deep into the hidden data. Her fingers flew over the controls. Secret orders, mysterious supply routes, Teton fleets near the Terran border. Zyrax was building something. A new weapon. A secret army. Or maybe something worse. She downloaded all the proof she could onto a data crystal. Her hands shook as she closed the panel. She had everything she needed, but she was also running out of time. A cold warning that night. Varel attended a war council in the royal chamber. The room was full of tall armored figures, admirals, generals, and scholars. Her father, the emperor, sat on his throne, silent and tired. His health was getting worse. General Xerax stood proudly beside him, as always. He smiled when he saw her, but his smile had no warmth. "Our prisoner," he said loudly, "has been judged a spy and enemy of the crown. His execution will be at dawn." Varel's heart stopped. "Without trial?" she asked. "That's not our law." That ass turned to her slowly. "You forget, princess. In wartime, the crown decides what is law." She met his eyes. "Then the crown will speak. I demand delay." Xerax's voice grew colder. "Why do you care for a human princess? What is he to you?" Everyone turned toward her. The room grew quiet. She stood tall. "He is a chance for peace. I will not let that chance die." Xerax smiled again, but his eyes were sharp. "Then you are a fool." The meeting ended. But Virel knew. Xerax now saw her as an enemy. Secret meeting that night, Virel returned to Eli's cell, but this time she did not come through the main door. She used an old tunnel under the palace, once used for royal escape. Eli looked up as she entered. He was sitting cross-legged on the floor, his back against the wall. "You're late," he said with a smile. She rolled her eyes. "You're still making jokes. Helps with the nerves." Varel stepped closer and pulled something from her cloak. The glowing data crystal. "This is everything. Messages, orders, plans. It proves that Xerax is the traitor." Eli took the crystal. "Let's show the world." She shook her head. "Can't. Not yet. If we do it now, he'll strike back fast. We need to get the data out off-world." Eli raised an eyebrow. "And how do you plan to do that?" Varel smiled for the first time in days. "I'm going to help you escape." The Great Escape at midnight, Virel disabled the cell's force field using an old royal code. Eli's cuffs unlocked with a soft hiss. He rubbed his wrists and stood. "Still remember how to run?" she asked. "I never forgot," he said. They moved through the tunnels beneath the palace dark. Narrow paths built centuries ago. Old lights flickered above them. Rats and machines scurried in the shadows. Virel led the way. She had memorized every corner, every turn, but the deeper they went, the more she felt the danger around them, and she was right. The ambush just as they reached the exit tunnel, a blast of light shot across the hall. The wall exploded beside them. Eli grabbed Varel and pulled her down as metal shards flew through the air. "Move," he shouted. 4 royal enforcers stood at the end of the hall, weapons ready. "You are under arrest." One of them shouted. Virel held up her hands. "I am the princess. You dare, by order of General Xerax," the guard said. So it had begun. Xerax had made his move. Eli pulled a small energy blade from a hidden pouch, stolen from the guards earlier. Virel grabbed a weapon from the wall, a ceremonial staff with a charged tip. They fought side by side. Eli moved fast, dodging blasts and striking low. Virel fought with precision, using her royal training to disarm and stun. Together, they brought the guards down. Breathing hard, Eli looked at her. "Not bad for a royal," she smirked. "Not bad for a prisoner." Flight through the skies, they made it to a hidden landing pad outside the palace walls. Virel had already prepared a small ship, a fast flyer with stealth mode. As the engines powered up, alarms blared across the capital. Xerax knew they were escaping. Eli jumped into the pilot seat. "Still know how to fly one of these?" "I learned from Terran pilots," Virel said, strapping in. The ship rose into the sky, spinning past guard towers and laser nets. Behind them, Gerati fighters launched into the air. "Hang on," Eli shouted. They flew fast and low, twisting through buildings, diving under bridges, and blasting past enemy ships. The small flyer was quicker than most palace crafts, but it wasn't enough. A missile locked onto them. Incoming. Virel yelled. Eli turned the ship sharply, diving toward the sea below. Hold your breath. They splashed into the water. The missile followed, but lost track and exploded too far behind. The ship rose again, water dripping from its sides. They had escaped? A new planet they flew toward, a secret off-world relay station. Virel looked at Eli. What will you do with the data? I'll send it to the Terran High Council, he said, and to neutral systems. Let everyone see what Xyrax is doing. She nodded. And after that, he looked at her carefully. That depends. What are you going to do? I'm going back, she said. To my people, to the throne. I will stop Xyrax from inside. That's dangerous. So is staying silent. They flew in silence for a moment. Then Eli reached into his pocket. I kept this, he said, holding up the crystal she once gave him. Even when I thought I'd never see you again. Virel looked at it, then at him. You were the only real friend I ever had. They didn't need to say more. The bond between them was still strong, and together they were going to change the galaxy. The stars stretched like silver dust across the black sky. The stolen ship floated quietly, far from the main systems. Its lights were dimmed. Its signal was masked inside. Eli Mercer worked at the control panel. He connected the stolen data crystal to the transmitter. The screen blinked green. Across the galaxy, multiple encrypted signals began to upload. Princess Virel stood beside him, arms crossed, her eyes fixed on the stars. It's done, Eli said. The truth is out. The Terran Council, the neutral worlds, even some Jarati colonies, they'll all see what General Xyrax has done. Virel let out a slow breath. Now we wait. Eli looked at her. Or we prepare. The response begins back on Jarati Prime. The reaction was fast and violent. As soon as the data was received by neutral media channels, the entire empire lit up with chaos. Reports of Xyrax's betrayal flooded across planets. Protesters filled the streets. Some palace guards laid down their weapons. A few brave commanders even refused Xyrax's orders, but he did not stay silent. Instead, he called the leaks a Terran trick and declared Princess Virel missing and corrupted by the enemy. She is no longer the heir, he said in a broadcast, standing beside the old, weak emperor.
Speak for the crown now.
Across the galaxy, one truth became clear. Civil war was coming. The call to arms Virel paced inside the small ship. He moved too fast, she said. He's taking control while my father is too weak to speak. Eli nodded. When with you. Gone. He can twist any story he wants. Then we can't hide anymore, she said. It's time to fight. Eli raised an eyebrow. You mean go back to Jarati Prime? No, she said. We go somewhere else first. She pulled up a star map. There's a moon on the edge of Jarati space. Callus 3. My family once had a base there. Secret, hidden from the Empire. And now, she smiled faintly. It's going to be our headquarters. The rebellion Grosclus 3 was quiet and cold. Silver blue moon, with tall, icy cliffs and black stone towers. The old base still stood, half buried in snow, systems asleep, but Virel activated it with a single royal code. Lights flickered. On, shields hummed back to life. Within hours, old systems were working again. Drones cleaned the halls. Defense cannons aimed at the sky. The base was alive, and then they came. One by one, small ships arrived. Pilots, smugglers, exiled nobles, rebel Jarati officers, all those who believed in Virel and the truth. Among them was Captain Rowan, former Jarati fleet officer who had refused to attack Terran ships. I stand with you, she said. The Empire needs new leadership. Soon, Callus 3 became a center of rebellion, a spark in the dark. The threat grows but, General. Xyrax was not idle. He gathered the Imperial Navy, thousands of ships. He locked down systems that supported Virel, placed a bounty on Eli Mercer's head, and worst of all, he activated the Void Engine. It was an ancient weapon, long banned by the old emperors. a ship-sized machine that tore open gravity and turned it into a weapon. It could crush cities. Destroy moons.virell, and Eli heard about it from a spy inside the palace. He's going to use it on Kalos 3, the message said. You have days, maybe less. The time for planning was over. They had to act now. The final plan, Neela stood in the war room of Kalos 3 with Virel, Captain Rowan, and several rebel commanders. This is madness, one said. We can't fight the full Imperial. Navy, no, Virel agreed. But we don't have to. She pointed to a star map. The void engine is large, heavy. It moves slowly. If we attack while they're still charging it, we have a chance. Eli stepped forward. We hit fast. Strike teams go for the engine. Disable it. At the same time, Virel sends out a live message straight from her to the people. Captain Rowan nodded. We split them. Break their control. Give them doubt. The room went quiet. Then Virel said, this is the moment. We either rise or we fall. The battle for Kalos 3, the stars above Kalos 3, exploded with light as the battle began. The Imperial fleet arrived in waves, massive ships, golden and black, firing beams of plasma. But the rebel ships were faster, more agile, more desperate. Eli flew a lead ship, dodging blasts and shooting down drones. His voice filled the comms. Stay close. Focus fire on the void engine's escort ships. Below, on the moon's surface, defense turrets opened fire. Fighters swarmed like insects across the sky. The ground shook. Inside a special chamber, Virel stood before a holocamera, broadcasting live. Her face was calm. Her voice was strong. People of the Empire, this is your princess. I am alive. I speak to you not as a royal, but as one of you betrayed, hunted, and angry. General Zyrax has lied to us. He fears peace, fears unity. But I tell you now, the Empire can change. And it will. Stand with me. Stand for truth. The message spread fast across ships, stations, even into the halls of the Imperial Palace. Some soldiers paused, some turned their ships away, and some joined her. The strike team Eli landed on the hull of the Void engine, leading a small strike team. In armored suits, the massive machine buzzed with energy. Lights blinked red. The charge countdown had begun. 10 minutes, he shouted. They used magnetic boots to run across the curved surface, placing charges at key points. Defense drones flew out to stop them, but Captain Rowan and her fighters gave cover from above. Inside the core, Eli found the engine's power node. A glowing sphere pulsed in the center. He planted the final charge. Then his cum crackled. Eli at Zyrax. The last confrontation, the call was direct. No lies, no tricks, just a voice. You could have been great, Mercer, Zyrax said. You're smarter than the others. Why die for a broken empire? Eli stared at the core. His hand rested on the detonator. You don't understand humans, he said. We fight for each other, not for thrones. You'll die for nothing. Smiled. No, I'll live in their memory. Then he pressed the trigger. The sky burns bright. The void engine exploded in a wave of white energy. Its power core shattered. The blast spread across the stars, but thanks to the strike team's timing, the main weapon had not finished charging. Kalos 3 was safe. The Imperial ships nearest the engine were disabled by the shockwave. Some crashed into the moon. Others spun into space. From her command room, Virel watched it all. She whispered, Eli. But then his voice came through the radio. I'm alive. A little crispy, but alive. She laughed loud and full of hope. Hope reborn. The battle was over. The Empire was shaken. General Zyrax had vanished, perhaps. Dead, perhaps hiding. Virel's message had reached billions. Across the galaxy, rebellions grew into revolutions. Old systems fell. New voices rose, and Kalos 3 became a symbol, not just of war, but of unity. Virel stood before her people. This time, not as a princess, but as a leader. And beside her, Eli Mercer, once a prisoner, now a hero. The smoke of war was finally clearing. The battle for Kalos 3 was won. The Void Engine had been destroyed. General Xerax had disappeared. Many believed he had died in the blast. Others said he had escaped into the outer void. But for Princess Virel, the fight was not finished. Now came the hardest part, rebuilding everything that had been broken. The First Council, the rebel leaders, gathered in the main hall of Kalos 3's command center. The lights were bright now. The floor was clean. The walls no longer shook from battle. Virel stood at the head of the table. She wore a simple dark suit, not her royal robes. She didn't want to rule like an empress. She wanted to lead like one of them. Around the table sat warriors, scholars, Terran diplomats, and even Jarati citizens who had once served in the Empire. Eli stood behind her, arms crossed. Listening carefully, Virel cleared her throat. We have won a battle, yes. But the Empire still stands, confused, divided, and leaderless. One of the commanders asked, Then what do we do next? Virel looked around the room, meeting each pair of eyes. We give the people something better than fear and lies. We give them a future. Eli's journey after the council. Eli walked alone through the snowy cliffs of Kae Lost-3. The stars above were bright. The cold air stung his face, but he didn't mind. It reminded him he was alive. A young rebel soldier walked up to him. You're the human, right? The one from the prison? Eli smiled. That's me. The soldier looked nervous. Thank you, sir. And my brother was saved because of the signal you sent. He was in a prison camp. He let them go when the truth got out. Eli's smile faded, but his eyes stayed kind. It wasn't just me, it was all of us. And it's not over yet. The soldier nodded and left. Eli looked up again at the stars. He had come as a prisoner? No, people looked to him like a hero. But heroes were just people who kept going, even when they were afraid. Shadows returned to nights later. An old freighter arrived at Kalos 3 under a false name. Security scanned it. No weapons, no threats. But Virel felt something strange. She watched the ship land from the tower. Something's wrong, as she whispered. Then a message came through. I am coming for what is mine. Spiral's blood ran cold. Shirax, he was alive. The final betrayal, Shirax had one final plan. He didn't need fleets. He didn't need armies. He only needed one thing. The Emperor's seal, a small device hidden inside the royal palace. It held the power to command all Imperial systems, including security codes, battle AI, and legal authority. With the seal, he could override everything. He could declare Virel a traitor. He could erase the rebellion with a single command. And he was going to steal it. The return to the Polis Viral, and Eli prepared for one last mission. We can't let him get the seal, Virel said. If he does, all of this, the rebellion, the lives we saved, it'll be for nothing. Nodded. Then we go back where it all started. They took a small stealth ship, just the two of them. They flew straight to Jarati Prime, once again sneaking into the heart of the Empire. This time, it's not as enemies, but as ghosts of truth. The broken throne, the palace was quiet now. No more crowds, no more parades. The halls were full of dust and silence. They moved carefully, avoiding patrol drones and locked doors. At last, they reached the throne room, and there he was, General Xerax. He stood beside the old throne. In his hand was the golden seal, glowing softly in the dark. Virel stepped forward. It's over. Xerax turned. His face was scarred from the explosion. His right arm was robotic now, but his eyes still burned with power. No, child. It is just beginning. He raised the seal. The palace lights blinked. Systems began to reboot. AI voices confirmed. Crown authority confirmed. General Xerax recognized. Eli raised his weapon. Drop it. But Xerax laughed. You think? I care about your little gun, human. He activated a force field and stepped toward the throne. Then the throne itself spoke. The voice of the Emperor, recorded in secret. If my daughter is ever denied her place by force, this message will judge the truth. A blue projection appeared, the Emperor's face, weak but wise. He looked directly at Xyrax. You are the traitor. You were never the heir. The system paused. Authority transferred. Princess Varel confirmed. The seal glowed brighter and floated into the air, into Varel's hands. Xyrax screamed and rushed forward. Eli fired once, not to kill, but to stop. The blast hit Xyrax's chest. He collapsed at the foot of the throne, tried to steal. The rise of a new leader later in the same throne room, Varel stood again. But this time, not as a prisoner. Not as a lost heir, but as a leader, chosen by truth and trial. Crowds gathered outside the palace. Screens across the planet showed her face. Eli stood beside her. Quiet as always, Varel spoke. This is the end of the old empire. No more crowns. Of lies. No more weapons of fear. From this day forward, we build something better, not ruled by power, but by justice. The people cheered, and across the stars, other systems joined her. Epilogue. 1 year later, the new Star Alliance of Girardi and Terra had begun. Trade flowed freely. Soldiers became builders. Ships once built for war now carried food and medicine. And in the center of it all, the Callus 3 base became a school, a place to train young minds from every world. Eli stood at the cliff again, locked. Looking out over the moon, Varel walked up beside him. Tired of all this peace yet? She asked. He smiled. Not yet, but I'm watching. They stood in silence for a moment. Then Varel said softly, Thank you for being my friend, even when I forgot who you were. Eli looked at her. I never forgot who you were. Smiled. The stars above them were still the same, but now they were full of hope.